All right, we are here on the border with Jonathan Lines. He knows this area very well. I wanted to ask you, obviously we see, looks like hundreds of people that are lined up here. Can you tell me what it has looked like here along the border over the last couple of months and just even this year?
Right here in this particular area or particular crossing where the Trump wall ends, we experience about 1,000 people coming across the border on a daily basis. Right now we're seeing a lot of people from Venezuela, from Cuba, some of the other triangle countries, from all over the world. We've had 104 different nationalities cross in this area, so 17 special interest countries have crossed here. This is where the people who are known associates of terrorists and of the cartels have crossed. So it's a high traffic area.
I know Yuma is very unique in terms of, a lot of the migrants who are coming here, they know, where Border Patrol is. A lot of times the people that are taking them here direct them right here. Why is this so unique in comparison to some of the other ports of entry?
Well, as you can kind of see, the wall finishes and they have easy access from the two major highways in Baja California and in Sonora, where they are able to come directly from the airport in Mexicali, cross in very shallow water, unlike the Rio Grande, and turn themselves in at this crossing.
What kind of drain on resources does something like this take? And I mean, a lot of people have got to be involved in processing this many people, and also just the community of Yuma in general. It's a small town, not a lot of, it's not a big city where these people could spread out.
So, when you look at our historic numbers, and a few years ago there was like 6,000 or 8,000 people, sum total in a year, and that's what we're looking at on a weekly basis now. So first and foremost, it drains the resources of law enforcement, not just the federal law enforcement, but local law enforcement. As many of these people, when the numbers continue to rise, will walk away from the border and make their way into the different communities. We've had people show up directly to the sheriff's office, to the Mexican consulate, to the Crossroads Mission asking for help, simply because they didn't want to wait here on the border any longer. We're seeing at the food bank some of these people show up directly who have chosen to stay in Yuma. And when you're taking that USDA product or specific designated food, it's difficult to serve that to them so other NGOs and churches have provided assistance there. They've stepped up and filled that void.
This has always been a busy area, but can you just
It's never been like this.
Yeah,
right?
Can you kind of talk about that?
So, there's 100,000 people that live in Yuma proper, and we have had more than 300,000 people cross here this year. The previous year, it was around 180,000. The year before that, I believe it was 20 or 30,000. So those numbers are significant as far as crossing. And what that means is that when you talk about a strain or a drain on resources, you see all these Border Patrol agents that are here processing these people. They're not able to really focus on national security, keeping the bad actors and keeping the narcotics from coming into the U.S. They are here in an immigration function as these people are turning themselves in. So while on our western border, they're here processing people, on our southern border, 10 miles from here, that's where the bad actors and that's where the fentanyl and all of the other hard narcotics are coming across the border.
The smugglers and people that are coming across.
Yes.
And that's obviously very different kind of resources that are needed to fight that versus what we're seeing here.
These are the guys that are boots on the ground, who are there to interdict those drugs coming across, to shut it down and to put together their network so that they can shut down the bigger organizations. 6 miles from here, several months ago or 3 months ago, they shut down a pill processing plant for fentanyl. It didn't take very long for that to be built back up again and that fentanyl to be out on the streets. And so there's been, quite a few deaths in the Yuma community, people who have overdosed or been poisoned specifically. I've had senators and congressmen and candidates from all over the United States coming here telling me that the fentanyl, the methamphetamines that has come into the United States has crossed in from Yuma, Arizona, or along this border and made its way all the way across the nation.
You know this area super well. How important is the issue of getting this immigration under control for your area? How much is this on the minds of voters?
Illegal immigration is not sustainable with these numbers. People coming across, most of these people, they average 95% failure to appear for court dates. And some of these court dates are, 3 to 5 years into the future. So it is going to crash that system. It's going to crash the system around which Border Patrol functions, because all of these people should be taking their documents and showing up to a port of entry where they can be processed in a legal fashion. Now, they have now entered the country illegally, therefore it complicates that process.
I know there was a big dispute over the shipping containers and putting them up. Do you think that's helping at all?
Absolutely. So really operational control is what we're after in order to assist law enforcement. What it's done is actually provided an operational advantage. So when you're able to block off those areas and you don't have people coming across in multiple areas, you're able to take your resources that you have that are sometimes already strained and put them into an area where you can focus on that. So even though we didn't see as we came across that canal, there were other agents who were out there with infrared vision, night goggles, looking for the people that are coming across who do not want to turn themselves in. We call them the getaways or the gotaways. That number has been reduced significantly with the ability to close up and move some of the resources from those open areas down here to this area specifically.
Do you think building the wall, finishing the wall that Trump wanted to do would actually solve some of these problems?
Absolutely. And the Remain in Mexico policy would be very helpful to keep people in that country while they apply in a legal fashion.
Where some of these migrants are taken after, because I know we talked about that earlier.
Because of the strain on resources for Yuma, what they do, depending upon the numbers on a given day, they'll take these people and lateral them to other Border Patrol stations so that they can assist in processing. And we have people from all over the United States who have come, specifically federal employees, to help process as well. In the stand-up facility that is located at sector headquarters, you have 2,000 to 3,000 people there who are undergoing that vetting process, which requires a significant amount of time for Border Patrol and those processors. But that's where they are hosted until they are able to take a lateral. Some end up in D.C., some end up in Martha's Vineyard and other places.
A lot of Republicans have characterized what's happening here on the southern border as, an invasion. Do you think that that is correct?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, when you see this many people coming across unvetted, who simply turn themselves in, and those who are getting away, the average, I believe, is about 25% is what they calculate. So if you see 1,000 people coming across, for every 1,000 people, you've got maybe 250 that get away. Who are those people? What are their intentions? Are they from countries that are not friendly to the United States? And what are they ultimately going to do while they're here? We saw yesterday a group of people from Cuba who were arrested because of sex trafficking. They were charging those people $60,000 to come into the United States. And AP did a story a couple of years ago that talked about undocumented labor in the LA basin. And they said that basically 60 to 75% of these people coming across have to pay off a debt. And so how are they doing that? Are they ever able to rise across or rise above their standard of living that would be good for them and their families?
Are we seeing a lot of people who need medical attention or need
Border
help?
Patrol will then ask them through that vetting process if they have any special needs. We've had people with all types of conditions come across. One of the things that we didn't talk about, which is very important, the hospital here in Yuma, Arizona, we have a singular hospital. It's a rural hospital, and their unreimbursed expenses directly relating to the migrants coming across is $22 million so far. That's pretty significant. The federal government is not reimbursing them, and then those costs may or may not be passed along to the people of this area. So yeah, that's an additional strain on our resources.
I know you said that you led a lot of members of Congress, a lot of officials, on border tours. Are people pretty shocked at what they're seeing?
Absolutely. As we pulled up, what was one of your first thoughts? Oh my heavens, that's a lot of people, right? So I would categorize it to a certain degree as an invasion as well.